How about that? There we go. Now can you hear me? Hopefully. Fingers crossed. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? How about that? There we go. Okay, now I think. There we go. Now can you hear me? Hopefully. Okay, great. Wonderful. Okay, I'm so glad that you guys are able to hear me now. Okay, so now I'm using a new tool, so bear with me. We just switched over our web conferencing system, so I'm still learning it as well. Great, I'm so glad you can hear me. So you should be able to see me. Hello, and I am sporting my Astros jersey and hope that we actually win tonight and don't get knocked out of the playoffs. So hoping that's going to help. And then you should also be seeing my slides. It says Kinfigurator on there. Cool. Okay. So, like I said, bear with me. Let me get my playground site pulled up. All right. So for those of you who maybe don't know me, but I think everybody on the call worked with you at some point in time. My name is Taylor Craig, and I'm the Senior Platforms Consultant at Kineo. That's me and my family at an Astros game. So I'm hoping if I put all the good juju out there about the Astros, then it'll be a good thing. Excellent. Okay, and I'm hoping that, you guys will do the same unless we're not your team. If you're rooting for Tampa, then I'm sorry for you. So let's go ahead and talk today about the Kinfigurator. So this is a cool tool that one of our internal developers has built. If you guys haven't had the pleasure of working with Michael Trio, I'm sorry for you because he's great. And he developed this at our incessant begging, I guess, and he finally went ahead and did it. All in his own time. I don't think he even did it on Kineo time. So I love bragging on Michael. He's fabulous. And we're going to talk about the Kinfigurator. So this is a tool. We're primarily using it in our newer implementations. So version 11 and version 12. However, if you want it on he says in theory, it should work in older versions. This is very alpha. He always reminds me. It's very alpha, Taylor. It's very alpha, but it's super cool. And so I want to show you guys what this is. So let's take a look. Let me pull my playground site up over here. So if you have it, that is the wrong site. Let me get over here. Let me get logged in. Hopefully that's the right password. If you have it on your site, it's going to be located underneath the server settings. This is a playground site, so pardon the pig gif. It's going to be underneath server. Also, I don't know if you guys can see it, but my cat has joined us. And then it's going to be underneath Kinfigurator, spelled K-I-N for Kineo. And then it's this configuration report. So he's got a couple other things here with it, but the configuration report is the part that really gets me excited. This comes in super handy especially with newer implementations and newer clients, but I could still see a use case for existing clients because you may be wondering, hey, what in the world were the default settings? So what this shows you is it shows you where the setting is, and it kind of takes a minute to wrap your mind around reading this. And then the setting itself, and then it shows you the default value. So what was it straight out of the box, core, all that good stuff. And then it shows you the current value. So if you've made any changes to any of those settings, it shows you what changes you've made. So this is really beneficial for us, especially when we're doing any kind of new implementations. We're able to just export this file out and then provide it to the client and say, okay, here's all the changes that we made during our implementation. But I could see, again, this being useful for existing clients because you can go through, because a lot of times, there's turnover, there's new people coming in as NSAs. It helps to kind of know what were the settings and then be able to go back and review them and maybe figure out, okay, but why did we do that? Is that still useful? So let me kind of show you how to read this in a little bit more detail. It does help to download it. Like Michael says, it's still very alpha. But it's nice to download it because then what you can do is you can manipulate the file using Excel, which is handy. And then I'll show you also what the settings are. It helps to just come in here, wrap the text on some of these because they are quite large. And of course, just kind of reformat how you see fit. What I have found with Excel works nicely is to select both of these columns and then underneath Find and Select, go to Special here. And then it'll pull this up and you can tell it row differences and say OK. And then it's going to point out what's different. And I like to just select the good option here at the top because then it's going to permanently color those as you need to. Then what you can do is you can sort and filter. I'm actually going to select the whole thing and we're going to add custom filters. Then what you can do is you can filter by color. And so you can see every single one of the configuration changes that have been made on this particular site. So I'm able to see the differences between the two. So let's go back up to this top one because it's pretty obvious what this one is. So this one says audience visibility. So what we've done is it was by default turned off, it was set to no, and then the current value, now it's set to yes. I just had an epiphany of another really good use case for how this could be used for existing clients. It would help you to compare instances. So it would help you to compare your configurations between UAT and production, potentially. So if you're needing to maybe do testing for whatever reason on UAT, you're not sure it's configured the same as production, you could potentially run this and then compare the current values on the UAT site to your current values on your prod site. So that would be a really good use case for how this could be utilized for existing clients. So we have in audience visibility. Let me show you where you can find those settings in the system. Let me make sure that nobody has any questions so far and that everything's going good. Okay, so what you can do is inside of Fodora, you can just search for audience visibility, if I can spell. I didn't spell that right. Try again. I'm just going to copy and paste. I'm going to cheat. All right. There we go. So what that's pulling, so it's not pulling the entire title, it's pulling the short name. So this is the short name for audience-based visibility. So that's the setting. You'll see here this default was no. We checked the box and then we saved the changes. So we flipped that switch basically. And then also looking at this, you'll see here under the node column, this is essentially which page it is within all the settings. So optional subsystems. So some of this stuff is what it's called on the back side, so on the server side, what the developers see. So that's going to be the major difference there. It's not going to be maybe as clear as it is inside of the UI, right? Another disclaimer on this, since it is very alpha, there may be some settings pages that maybe aren't caught. He thinks he's gotten almost all of them, and I'm sure he probably has gotten 99% of them, knowing him and knowing his work. But it could potentially be that there might be some pages missing. If you have this tool and want to contribute back, let us know. If you're looking through there and you're thinking, you know what, these settings are missing, then you can provide those back to us if we're happy to go in and add that stuff to the tool and just make it even better. But it's just kind of nice to be able to see all of the settings changes you made. And again, it's a nice way to compare your production instance to your UAT instance to maybe a sandbox instance. That way you're able to see that they are all in fact matching. You could potentially do the same thing that I did here. Just grab that same column and compare those columns. There. So that's really all I had for you today, but I just wanted to brag on Michael a little bit and show off his cool work. Like I said, if you don't have it and want it, then a support ticket and we'll work with you from there to see if we can't get that installed. So now I'm going to turn it over to you guys. If you have any questions, let me know. It doesn't have to be on this. If you have any questions on anything else, happy to